55, and we are back. We are fully migrated to the culture now. You want to give them the slogan, Dan? You want to tell them the slogan? Since you came up with it, I got to give you all your flowers.
No,
Get
no, go ahead, finish up. I love it.
okay.
Don't stop now.
First, I'm gonna hang up the phone. First, I'm gonna hang up the phone because that's not working. I'm gonna hang up the phone. All right, good. Phone's gone. If the culture fits, so do you. We
That's
we
right.
thought about that for a minute, and and the wonderful Dan Hammond put the sauce on it. Put the sauce on that. I can't say enough good about that. It landed. The if the culture fits, so do you. And if it
Yeah,
doesn't, maybe not now. Maybe down the road. But
yeah.
we'd
Maybe
love to
10 years
have you,
later.
and we interesting to
Damn.
kicked out of my own. I got kicked out of my own thing. You know what it did? It said, um, it stopped recording. Would you like to refresh? And I'm like, okay. I mean, this happened before the last time, and you know what I think it is? Have we
Have we what?
flipped? Because on my screen I was on the right before.
Yeah,
Yeah. You see, I don't think it likes me on the right side.
maybe. I don't know. I do notice that it did do a flip,
Yeah.
and I think I must have. I have marginal internet connection up here in the treehouse, but
Yeah, that happened last time. I don't think it says, "Oh, Nigel right." Okay, I'm gonna put you on the left.
yeah,
Take that.
it changed. It changed. You're also very low. Your the pixelation's very low on your side for me, but that's
So are you. So are you.
cheating.
But it'll
And
catch
yes,
up. It'll
gonna
catch up as it
make sure I have stable connection. I think your recording's going to come out fine. Also, when it finishes
Yeah,
dialing
yeah,
in.
yeah, yeah, yeah. It's
So
doing
happy
that
Friday.
upload thing that it normally does.
Yeah,
So back to if the culture fits, so do you. When we started
super glad to be here.
talking about
Living and
this,
breathing.
yeah, man, living and breathing. Famous words. You could be breathing, but you're not necessarily living. So we hope to encourage, support,
Hmm.
um, motivate some better living. First for ourselves. I mean, what better way to support the cause than to engage in it ourselves? To be, to do the leadership by example. I'm just gonna
Right.
hit my son up, let him know we're live because he was asking me. Um,
I think what's
so yeah,
happening too on this particular Riverside that we're using, I'm still uploading, so I'm hoping that
yeah, you're at 96% now. I'm seeing it on this end as well.
is that me or you only. Um,
Well, I don't know what you're seeing. Mine says
it's
upload
hard to
complete,
figure
but
out
that's on this side. You're
why am
you're
I
at
uploading? Why
98
is it you?
because it's probably saving a portion of it locally to your machine as well. Um,
So
but
I'm recording. Am I recording and you're recording, or we're both recording? Just you're
yeah,
recording.
as far as I know, there's a portion that makes sure that there's a local recorded portion, as I understand it, that helps so that we don't have that what you're seeing now, this grainy thing, doesn't happen in the final recording. It does it locally, so it's not reliant on the internet to carry the signal across, and then it'll merge it together at the end.
Right.
It's an individual,
Well,
and then it's kind of it's similar to believe it or not, the file sharing, like with Napster type thing. You or torrent files, if you know what that is. You take pieces of a file from different places, and then you put them together after the fact.
and then send
We're
that
probably
one.
going to use that same technology in teleporting at some point. and hopefully we
Yeah.
get put back together.
Right. Well, if that's the
You know?
case, then maybe we can just, fix anything that you may have if you're able to completely molecularly take your body apart and put it back together. Hopefully, while it's apart, you can fix anything that needs to be fixed.
Well, you know how the capitalist works. Fix to them would be like, I need a liver. Just take that out. You pop in, you come back, you be like, wow, you know, gone, you know. But who knows? It might have a more positive, like that might be a way for you. Could you imagine you teleport and you have like, I need to have my gallbladder removed. You know, you teleport and now
Right.
you're apart. I don't have to like just take that out.
That's what I was saying. While you're apart, before you get put where you're going, you get fixed. Since all the pieces are apart or open or however wherever it is,
Mhm.
because if that's a possibility, then yeah, you should be able to take whatever's wrong with you, maybe give him a new brain too while he's at it, huh?
Maybe well, you could think about the chop shop, method. Sell you
Yeah,
off for the sum of your parts kind of thing.
yeah.
Corporate raider.
Add 6 inches there, huh?
Yeah, dude, you can pull a Gordon Gecko. Like, like I'm just sell the parts off,
That's what
you
that
know.
professor dude at MIT that does the all of the prosthetic neural linking. Remember I told you that
Mm.
story about the dude? He's a professor out there at MIT. He's got the highest credential for
For
it's not him neural linking, but that's what it is. They put the sensors on the bodies. Remember, I told the story. The dude,
hmm
he when he was 16, he was a rock climber, and he went with his friend
hmm
out in Washington
right,
State, and
right,
they
right,
got
right,
caught
right.
in the hills. They got stuck for 3 or 4 days, and they both got frostbite. He lost his legs from the knee
hmm
down, from the knees down,
Right.
so he wasn't able to be a climber again until 30 years. This was in the 70s, so 30, 40 years later, he gets his
hmm
prosthetics, and he's the number one professor at MIT that does the I don't know even what I want to call it. What would you call it? The programming for robotics for
hmm
robotic prosthesis. There you go. That's who he is. And he was, remember I was saying they got it dialed now for people who have an accident today. You get in a
hmm
tree climb, a tree work or something, you get your limb
hmm
chainsaw, if you can tourniquet that and not die, don't, and it's all chewed up like the limb gets like chewed up and you got something hanging. You don't want to touch it. You leave all that stuff and be careful. And they take you in, and they all the mangled. They're able to attach to all these different nerves and stuff, as opposed to people that have what do they called it? Limb removal to old school limb removal. They cut the limb off and they pull the skin over it or whatever, and it just would heal. But by
hmm
them cutting the limb off, they cut through all the things they needed to save. So the point is
Right,
today
right,
in
right.
surgery, they're able to save these things and save nerve endings that will be able to tie into the new robotic prosthesis to let them, move
I see. Well, you
or
would
whatever the
think
case may
if,
be.
but
But
you
great
see,
story,
like
great guy.
it if you're out and you're having a what is it? You have an accident. Your first impression would be like, well, this is going. I'll just take it off. I at least that would be my first impression until you've said that.
Right.
You,
That would
you,
be
uh,
the
you remember, like, look at teeth. A tooth can come out, and you can put it in milk, and they can put it back in. I remember the first time I heard that. You get a tooth knocked out, and you could put it in milk and go back to the dentist, and he popped that sucker back in there.
right.
You know,
Easy fix.
if you chucked it, then you're just going to be missing a tooth. It's not going to be. It's not going to be too good. But the point of all this is, so when we started talking about Culture 55 almost a year ago now, you can believe that.
I can.
It was because, again, do better. You get to a certain age, a certain level of experience, wisdom, whatever you want to call it. You've lived some life, and you recognize that, okay, well, I think I'm probably closer to the other side than the beginning. So, what to do. And, ageism is real. Um, when you're young and you hear people say, "Oh, youth is wasted on the young," you don't, I didn't pay much attention to that. I'm just out here living, and breathing. But you
Right.
start to see how things change and how things that you may not have been paying attention to, didn't think much of, start to become more present in your life out of necessity, like a high curb, or your knees is banged up, from years of use. Because, our body's got a certain amount of mileage on it. It's just not like forever. There's no like, we might have some run flats or whatever the case may be, but it still goes flat. You take on some damage, it's gonna have an effect. And it doesn't matter whether that damage comes from, an accident per se, or just heavy use. You see professional athletes who go through things, you put a lot of mileage on your body. Yeah, there's a certain degree of, physical activity and movement that's helpful, and all that, great. But when it starts to become beyond, the 4,
Right.
5, 6 hours a day on a regular basis, you know, fit for purpose, use. So the point is, as we were looking at these things, I think that, what you can't do as much physically, you start to realize that you do it up here. You even see that. I remember playing basketball. You go to basketball court and you play with some of these older guys, like they'll bust you up on the court because they know tricks, that you're not going to overcome with brawn. You get a seasoned basketball player, he'll kill you from the outside. You ever watch men's pickup basketball? There's always one dude shooting Steph Curry from everywhere. You don't let him get the ball at all. Forget about, I can outrun you and I can run a marathon, whatever. If I touch the ball, it's buckets all day.
Right.
That's it. There's not. I got nothing but buckets for you, all net all day, because that's, you lean into your strengths. So as we were talking about this, and we traveled to the Philippines, and we're doing newsletters and using more AI, you start to see more of an opportunity. Like, wow, everybody can have, dare I say, a robot, an AI assistant that you could start to use. You have capability that you didn't have before. So how do we use some of this stuff to balance, offset, harmonize some of the things that were going on? And the thing that we really connected on, and I'll just, if you're going to talk about it, was like what we were
Helpful.
seeing happening to seniors, and how um, sales or other things were affecting, how they were being treated. And, we both seem to take exception to that. And,
Right.
that sparked a lot of um, interesting debates and conversations, I should say. Um,
No doubt.
so, better, you do better.
We
So,
hope so. I mean, I think that's the goal for us. I think we all have our own path. So I don't think there's nothing being sold out there is for everybody. I think that try and get, something that fits most, and maybe we could take from it and do some adoption, and then personalize it, and hopefully get to work specifically for yourself, whatever it is that I'm talking about in subject matter. I have no idea.
uh, well,
But
dude, sage advice. Listen, there's no one size fits all. I'll just summarize it. That's what that is. You know, we're individual human beings. And if anything, it's certainly one of the strengths that anyone listening who is graced us enough to listen is going to get, is they're going to get diversity of opinion. You know, we're in we're in two different places, two different time zones, East Coast, West Coast. You know, um, varying degrees of melanin, same amount of hair.
yeah,
So there's some similarities, there's some differences, but at the end of the day, when we have perspective, um, we tend to go faster if there's some degree of cooperation.
Well, hopefully
And
you have
that's
peace
a,
of
yeah.
mind. Hopefully you're able to be cognitive. I think that I think there a lot of people struggling in lots of different ways. Um, Things moving so fast. It's like, man, if you don't get out of your struggle and like right now, here comes the other one. I can see how people can just get lost in the now. Always playing catch up. So maybe that AI
Yeah,
algorithm
and
will fix that for us someday.
well, I think we can ask the questions. I think we can ask the questions of AI, and dare I say we should, because the opportunity exists. At least that's my thought process. A question
Yeah.
that we don't have an answer to, and we're interested enough or passionate enough, there's a place to get a better than a simple Google flat answer. There's a way to engage and have a more dynamic conversation, if you would.
Right.
And I've yet to find an area where I wasn't able to do better by asking AI on some level, like to understand some of this stuff. And this is pretty much daily. I mean, whether it's a question about health. Like I remember when we went through the storms here in Florida, we getting ready to leave to go and stay at a friend's house because, storm's coming, and go more inland. And I'm like, do we leave the doors open or closed in the house? And I didn't know, but that was a question that I just, like, what you should do. So looked
Yeah,
it
that's
up.
a legitimate question. For
Yeah,
good thing
yeah,
that you
yeah.
were able to think like that and you weren't like, losing your life or having
Yep.
something fall on you right away, that you're able to,
Mhm.
take those moments and kind of think about, oh, did I get
Good that
this?
you say that.
Did I
Good.
get
I'm so glad you said that, because that is such a great analogy, because it really speaks to what you said before. Hopefully you have, peace of mind. Like nothing we're going to say is going to be at least nearly as effective if you're in survival mode. Like me, looking up whether to close the doors really is not going to apply if the house is under 6 feet of water.
right? Right.
Like you thinking life preservers and the Coast Guard. You're not thinking about
Just the doors.
AI and you know,
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
So I think the pieces that are applicable are, but that's a really good, powerful visual,
Yeah.
because sure, I'm glad we had a few, a day or so before for being forewarned, which is another thing, preparing,
Yeah.
knowing what the storm is.
They got the early warning systems kind of down, really. I think they probably got sued enough, you know, and won court settlements or whatever the case may be, because ultimately you have public works systems are in order. If you're paying a bill,
Hmm.
PG, or more specifically a water bill, or
Hmm.
property taxes, things like that,
Right.
these disasters, it's not really on you. If it was on you, then everyone would have to have the NOAA oceanographic database put into their house, so everyone can be connected to the warning system that happens for it's on them to warn everybody, to have an emergency alert system that they put into place, where your phone goes off and starts making all kinds of noises, let you know, yeah, there's a hurricane coming in. Good early warning system is going to save a lot of lives. Again, I think it was implemented probably to help save lives too, but I think probably what pushed the wheel forward was government being held accountable for people dying after FEMA can't
Hmm.
respond for 4 or 5 days, and you have all these dead bodies. It's unacceptable. So they've
Yeah.
at the least they could do is put in these early warning systems. Tsunamis, you have the sirens that go off. the hurricane effect is you're gonna have your phones and everything go off, and yeah, gonna save a lot of lives. Already has. So
But think about this, like, well before we had AI, these systems were predictive learning anyway, but it was just a lot more manual. There
right,
weren't computers and stuff like that, but not nearly to where, you could do some portion of that yourself now, like the individual, if you wanted to.
right.
Um, so I think and this may be ambitious, or reaching stretch goal, if you would, but we're running out of excuses to not know.
Well,
I think that's fair. What do you think?
sure. Think we are. Think that there's a lot of time. The time today is allowing information now. If that be the case, it's kind of it's incumbent upon us to fill in the gaps and stop necessarily leaning on these things like a phone number or a 911. These buttons that come save me or come bring me DoorDash or bring me food or what, all that stuff. I think you still need core values that in case something happens, you lost internet, you lost something. What you gonna do now? You need to have things in place even for yourself to find out what would you do in an emergency. It's weird how we're on this tangent, like in an emergency situation, but that's where it's going to hit home the most. If you were affected into an emergency situation, how are you going to do better? How are you going to survive? What's your plan of escape? What's your escape plan? Your contingency. If the water starts rising at your
Well,
house, you
think
got
about the
boat
things that. Well, I got one even better.
and what? You got life
Imagine you
jackets?
lose your
No.
phone, bro.
Well,
But
you got
if you lose your phone for a
you
day,
got you
right?
got a T-shirt, right?
I'm not even talking about super catastrophe. Check this out. Imagine you lose your phone, right? And you never buy groceries. Or you do, but you just don't have any. You only do DoorDash mostly, but you don't have your phone. So there's no apps. Can't order DoorDash, can't order an Uber. Where are you at? Like, what's your contingent? You don't even have beef jerky in the house. You have nothing,
Right.
like you still gotta have to be like, well, I gotta go down to the store. Well,
Right.
hopefully your car isn't, married to your phone. You can't start the car without the phone because then you got problems
If
with
you
there
got a
too.
car, I mean,
True, 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 true. It's a so I think that to your point, I feel like there's a lot of opportunities for us to be prepared for things that we're not necessarily taking the time to do it. And yes, people are busy, they're living lives, you know, if they're underwater, they're not interested in any of this. Fair enough. But I think when you do have some um, downtime, something to consider,
right.
do whatever makes you happy. Um, Maybe instead of watching, House of Guinness on Netflix, which I just finished, maybe you take a few minutes and you prepare yourself for, if the unthinkable happens or the unexpected happens, or you're in that spot, because dude, there was some folks here in some apartments up the street that their houses, their apartments flooded. It was condos, 4 feet of water, and they're still not habitable. It's a year. Crazy. I think Dan Hammond froze. What, can I hear you? What's going on? I think I lost you. Let me text him. Let me see what's going on here. Might have to jump back in here. Let me text Dan and see where we're at. You back?
Yeah, I just got bad internet
Uh,
connections, dude. Sorry about that.
yeah, that happened before. They kicked me out before. I saw you do the freeze. You froze and then you were.
Yeah,
But you're back.
the whole my whole side of the recording is really, I haven't. Yeah, you freeze all the time. I'm freezing. You're freezing.
Mm.
It's a little difficult today, and I
Yeah.
actually closed. I have both accounts that were open for my Google, so
Mm.
I pretty much closed everything. I only have the one screen going. I thought that was going to really change everything, but
No, the
Remote.
graininess is gonna happen. Like I saw it before on our last stream, like the graininess that we're seeing, but it didn't show up on the video. So I'm leaning on that more than anything else. I mean, there's probably some settings we can look at if we don't want to see the grainy piece of it. Is your video that you're seeing of yourself looking good?
Yeah, my video looks good. It's
Yeah,
my
mine too.
internet.
So
It's my internet. It keeps popping
mhm,
up. Make sure I have a
mhm,
secure internet connection, and things are just buffering and freezing. But
mhm,
that's my end. It's my house. And
mhm.
the only thing I can think
Yeah,
of is
I
just
think there's some throttling that's going on with the internet as well as AI. Anyway, but what I was saying before, we kind of froze a little bit, was there are these apartments that they just 4 feet of water, and it's been a year, and they're still not inhabitable. And I'm like, I'm actually curious as to what happened to those folks. You have this
there,
apartment, you
there's
have
nothing to be
insurance.
there's nothing to be curious about. It's one of two things. Either they were taken care of or they weren't.
Okay, that's certainly
So I
that
mean,
seems logical.
they don't live where they did, so either they had insurance or they didn't. And it's not like I wonder what happened. If they had insurance, they were able to be covered and to be able to move somewhere else
Well,
and
no,
start
but that's just it. That you see that right there? That's why I'm curious. I spoke to someone else who had a similar problem, and I don't know if it's the same all across the board. I wouldn't make that assumption, but they said that they were told, "We'll fix your apartment" by the insurance company, and it might just have been their policy, but you got to find a place to live. It's going to take 8 months. So, yeah, I mean, it's like, again, the not knowing that it could even be some people covered, some people not, or whatever the case may be. I
well,
think if you're anywhere within a flood zone, or potential have a problem, you might want to know situations like that have happened before,
right.
and what you might what think about what to do. It's not that it's that's not a lot of work, because you're not doing the work. You're not doing massive amounts of manual go to library research. You're typing in a prompt saying, "Hey, tell me what happened in this area, and uh, what could I do? How can I prepare?" And you'll get a fairly decent answer. And if you spend some time, you'll get a quite a robust answer.
You'll get a decent answer if you spend the time on it to find out that you got a decent answer. I mean,
Well, I'll disagree with you there a little bit. Since you had no answer, a la vote the party line,
yeah, yeah,
you'll get a decent answer, because
yeah.
before you had
You'll get
nothing.
some. Oh yeah, definitely something to start with. And
Yeah, yeah.
you're gonna
So
have to decide if you're comfortable with that answer, or if you would like to um, have it extrapolate a little farther out.
mm,
You pick your distance that you want to go with that answer. So it is a good thing. I think yeah, the accountability and it's got to be changing, man. The voting system's got to be changing. Crazy if we stay in this same system for another decade. The same way we vote, the same way we handle emergency, the same bureaucracy for things, the same hundreds of millions of people living in a country just happy to have that stick full of this gob that is sugar and the sugar coated sweetness. That's all I want, man. You just I want to just go around licking till I get to the center of the Tootsie Roll Pop.
and there it is, folks. Welcome to this segment of our program, Lollipops and Lemmings,
Yeah, yeah.
brought to you by Dan Hammond.
No, it's brought to you by ourselves, man. We doing it. We ain't happy with the way
Mhm.
things are going, but it's like who me? I'm not going to change everything, but I sure can't bitch about it. I'm real good at that.
Well,
That
well,
just make
I think that's gonna come. I think
just
that's
more
gonna come. But
noise. I'm just making more noise. So the thing to do is to sign up for a library card.
right.
Go look at what your governance is. Get a hold of the Bitly link that we are getting ready to put up. You know,
Well, yeah, yeah,
the,
yeah.
the fact is that information is out there for us. We keep talking about it's going to happen. We're going to be
Mm,
voting on our phones real soon. Real soon. 20,
mm,
2016, I saw a guy on TED Talks. I don't remember his name now. They did it in 2016. And the reason why they pulled the plug was because they
Hmm.
could not get adoption further out. In other words, like did it in a county or
Hmm.
uh not I don't think they did it a state. They did it in a few counties or something, and had the county, because I guess you have to, sign, you have to get on the government
Hmm.
servers. If you're going to do a voting app, either the government needs to run it, or it's an independent party that runs it, which that's how it should be for us. Independent company owns the servers and the service for the voting. That way, the government don't
Hmm.
have nothing to do with it.
Right, right, right.
Right. So you're all signed up to a server platform or whatever. It's called, governmentvote.org or whatever. And it's not USA.gov. It's not.
Well, what do you think? Okay, so what do you think
Keeps it
about?
keeps it
But what do you think
non-biased.
about those? What do you think about those not having a .gov organization running these things that are government um, focused, if you would?
I think that it's a narrow area, and it's for checks and balances only. And we as the censorship, as the
Hmm.
constituents, we as the humans who it's affecting us specifically. A funny
Hmm.
thing is that government policy doesn't affect government. If that
Mm,
makes any sense. Government is not a
it
human.
does. It does.
Government isn't alive.
Right.
It has
Right. Right.
doesn't have skin. It doesn't have feelings. People are running government, and that's why we can't. Government's been able to convolute it like that. Like government is separate, and the people.
Mm,
Government is like AI. It's over there by itself, running its own self. It's called the government,
hmm.
and we as people think that. Oh, I guess that's the way it is. That's the government.
Mm,
They're huge. The CIA, the president. We think of these huge, lofty places that a place like you or I, we ain't gonna never
hmm.
ever with our own eyes see those people go step on the steps, go sit in the chamber. It's so it don't even. It's like watching TV. It's playground. Is it even real? Does it even really exist? Little do we
Right.
know until now we talk about, yeah, we the people voting people in. Vote them all out. Start over. Let's redo the United States of America, because something that isn't talked about, and I'm not trying to be the negative guy. We are not the United States of America today, and it ain't over one thing that's happened today in this era, in this 2020s and 20 in this next millennium, and Buck Rogers in the 25th century. I don't know, only you may remember that.
Mm,
Way back in the day, it was this movie that was made up in the 25th century. That ain't far away now for us.
right.
We're already in 21. So the
But why do you say
vibration.
we're not in the United States of America? Why do you say why
What's
it's not
that?
the United States? Why did you say it's not the United States of America? Why did you say that?
We aren't in the United States of America because all I keep hearing, no matter what news media I go to, it can be internet news media, it can be television, mainstream, low stream, dark web. It doesn't matter. Anywhere you look and you want to talk about your United States, it's them and us and
Ah,
them,
right, right, right,
they
right,
and
right, right.
them and us in our own state. And it ain't a voting thing anymore. Like, vote for
Mm, mm,
them,
mm,
not us. Vote for us, not.
mm, mm.
No, 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 no. It's we got to kill the we. All you hear today now, we can't let them get away with this anymore. People are both sides. We fed up with each other.
Right, right, right,
How
right.
dare they do that? And all they do is attack each other.
But I'm gonna jump in here and say this because
We've taken
I
side.
per-
We've
I
taken
per-
sides, though. We've chosen sides. There are sides that have been chosen, and our whole attention now is about bickering and
prison rules. Like that's how
propagating
I
through
term it. That's
government
how
to
I look
keep
at it. It's
us in
prison
chaos.
rules. You know, yeah, yeah.
Pretty much.
Yeah, it's prison rules.
That's a
But
simple way to
again,
put it.
to drink our own Kool-Aid and because I don't I don't agree with or subscribe to labeling reality as negative. What you just said is true. We see it, or at least we see portions of it. No question, right? So if what you're seeing is true, it's like, it's like true romance. If that's a fact, tell me, am I lying? It's that. If that's a
Right.
fact, tell me I'm negative or positive or anything other than just stating what is. And the point, and I think the bigger point, and what we really been trying to stress here at Culture 55 is this. And I said this the other day: complain about everything. Fine. That's going to happen. But what are we going to do about it? That's why we had the elected officials document, which
Right.
I put the library card link in the chat. And, I put it in the live stream chat, and I'm about to put the one for the U.S. elected officials. But the point is, if we do better, even just a little bit every day, that's a good thing. And by doing better in terms of what you just commented on, it's not just voting the party line. It's taking the time to run something that you could do just by putting in your zip code, so that you don't have to just vote the party line. The party line seems that's what you got. If you don't know anything about any of the candidates, heck, if the races are uncontested, um, what does that say about anything? So if you have a little bit more information,
Yep.
you probably are going to make a better decision, a better informed decision. And to me, that's a start. Is it enough? I don't know. I think it depends on the individual and what you think, but I'm comfortable enough with, if we could do a little bit better, if one person does a little bit better by looking, I'm all for it, because that's where
Right.
it starts. Because maybe somebody else sees that person. Maybe somebody else says, you know what? That's not a bad thing. Or maybe I didn't have time to do it, but that seems like a quick win. I could do that. Because
Right.
and if we get to more places like that, I think it's going to lessen the feelings of negativity, if they're, whether warranted or not,
For sure.
about someone complaining. Because to me, if
100%.
you complain and then do something, the complaining is venting because you're doing something, to me. But if you're just complaining, maybe the goal is to complain. And
Well,
dare I
we
say,
we
maybe you're winning on the complaining.
we know that you know a person, you feel them. If you content or happy enough to go outside about your day, we can really see each other without talking to each other. I think there is a kinetic energy. I do believe in the base level form of of telepathy. You can walk by
Mhm,
people and get what they call a vibe. You can
mhm,
start talking to someone and sense that they really don't want to hear anything you have to say without saying anything to you. You're not getting the
mhm,
response of attention. So it's not happening. So you know that we are on two different levels. I'm positive, you negative. We're gonna
mhm,
a debate at best. We're just not gonna have to agree to disagree kind of thing. And that seems to
mhm,
be everybody's easiest go to. Pushback seems to be the easiest go to instead of commonwealth or even common sense, because I think at the base level, if I agree with someone, or not me, agreeing with someone is a form of it's savagery, is a form of submission. You right.
mm,
I agree. I agree. And I think from people, the way we're living, we're afraid to even give ourselves that acknowledgement. I agree with you. Oh well, and we're thinking maybe at some other base level, if I agree with them, then he's going to sell me on something else, and it's going to get to a
mm,
point to where I have to tell them I disagree in order to get them to, back off or whatever that may be. And I'm saying, outside of the small circle you have of your specific friends or whatever it is, out as we
right.
navigate the world.
But you said that. I thought about something today, and I was discussing it with a friend, and it's this. Um, I've been feeling, like you said, like this this feeling around, we don't want to talk to each other anymore. We don't want to interact. We don't want to engage. But I never really quantified why that is. I just, part to me at one point said, I think I have social anxiety. I don't think I really, I don't really want to do that. But
Right.
something you said, and I'm going to tie this back to AI, conveniently or not, about energy and how we're just doing stuff, and it creates energy, and energy heats up, and you got to cool it down, and you got, like, so there's a lot of harmonizing that needs to take place. Here's what I thought about. when you're around people that you enjoy being around, you feel love, you feel and not in survival mode, because
Yeah.
if you're in survival mode, you might be like, I hate everybody, God forbid, but I can see that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about if all things, being relatively equal, you know, relatively equal. Um, if you're in a state where you can actually look at some stuff, you expend way more energy just going out in public than you do with people you care about. Because you and I talk all the time, right? So I'm not like, I'm not expending what I like to call a bunch of decision matrix, kind of thinking when we're talking, unless we're working on a project. But then that's building, it's different. But you
What?
think about when someone causes you to work mentally, and I'm laughing because I'm not saying in a good way. I'm not talking about school. I'm not talking about you trying to get an MBA or a PhD or whatever, or trying to fly a plane. No, I'm talking about when they create a situation where you have to work and sometimes like do a lot of heavy breathing. Like, let me give you a good example that'll resonate. You go to the bank, you need to get your money, and you say, hey, Mr. Bank Teller, I need $10,000. It's like, well, sorry, buddy, that's going to take 7 days. Why? Uh, because that's the process. But it's my money. Well, I'm aware of that. But that doesn't change anything. What, you don't have my money? No, I didn't say that. I never said I don't have your money. I'm saying, so why won't you give me my money? So now you're in this loop. And then it starts getting worse. Now it's like, well, you don't need to raise your voice. Am I going to have to call the authorities? Wait. You're going to call the authorities because you are refusing to give me my money. Well, I'm not refusing. I'm telling you, it just take and round we go. That
Oh yeah. I think that's best way to
and
put
nothing's
that.
done wrong. Nothing's
No.
like what's
That's a
negative?
process that they've learned with over time, and what happens from that one is because of litigation. So they'll tell you in that situation where you're talking about, it'll all boil down to this was all done for your safety. Well, how can you even say that? Well, because here at our bank, and the had fraudulent activity that has happened. People stealing each other's checkbook, you even their own family. So much stuff has happened where money has gone out of the bank to a customer for whatever reason. So let's say 20 years ago, uh, someone's writing a personal check to the landscaper.
Mhm,
Landscaper somehow accidentally found a whole checkbook in the driveway of the person they were
mhm,
landscaping to. 20 years ago, back in the day before online banking, that landscaper could take that check that she wrote legitimately for the landscape job, and he could write another one and just kind of copy and whatever, add another, do whatever he wanted to. And because she has her signature, a killer one there, and maybe I don't think he's gonna ever work for her
mhm.
again. But I'm just saying this very. Let me try and quicken it up. He could get money coming out the bank, and a teller would back in the day. Teller really wouldn't think twice about it. Landscape, yeah, I know Mrs. Martinez's signature. She always used red pen. This is the teller looking at the check.
Mhm,
That is her signature, and it is. That is hers. So he had two. One
mhm,
was black, and she just gonna cash them checks. Boom. Someone gonna send in, and there's the money gone. Totally fraud. Someone has a falling out with their family, disowned son, 7-10 years.
mhm,
Well, the parent opened up a bank account for the son back when he was 2 years old. Son goes
mhm,
and closes out the bank account that was opened up, but somehow also was able to find out information about mom's PIN number or something because he's able to talk his way to the banker, I'm the son. And she knows, yeah, I
Mhm.
remember you growing up. Well, mom's not feeling well, and I just need to, ATM a little. Let's call her, find out whatever. And then again, okay, another little fraudulent thing through family. So, point I'm trying to get to, the long story short, is now the policy is anything coming out, if it has digits, if it goes to 4 digits for 1,000, little yellow flag come up. They probably work with you or handing you. When you get to 10 grand, like you said, the 5 digit, that's a cutoff. That's a cutoff limit. Red flags go up, and you get holds on money because it's too high of a dollar amount. And the bank treats it like this: we are protecting you because of all the fraudulent shit that's happened in the past. We're standing on all those court cases and all that stuff. That's why we put the processes here in. If we give you a hold for 3 days for this thing, if it's fraud, it's gonna come out of it's gonna bubble out of the pot. We're gonna find it and just stop it. If it's legit, it goes through a course of checks and balances, and you waiting and double checking for the verification or whatever the bank's working with this hold checks and balance system. Then a lot more non-fraudulent activity happens by holding your money. That's why they did. So there, and dude, in court, that's like, if it wasn't a law, if it wasn't super okay for, they wouldn't do it. Your bank holding you your money, they would never be able to say those words to you, tell you these are the laws. This is backed by our law of our nation. These are backed by judicial laws, and that's why they're able to operate this way. Too much bad has happened, and they weighed it on the scales of justice, and they said, yeah, that fraudulent, that's like a bunch of cocaine coming into the country, and you just say, we going deep. Either we stopping it or we not. And we got to put these things in place that's going to upset people, but it ain't to hurt nobody. It's just to keep you safe.
Mm. Well, you know
Sure.
what
And
I
I've
find
already the
interesting
situation
about.
you had. I told you about that
Mm.
story. Maybe I don't know.
Yeah.
Fresh in your head. That
Well, that
happened to me. I bought a property. I
well
wanted to
that,
take out a large amount of money, and they told me, yeah, it's going to take. And I freaked out. What are you talking about? Give me a cat, but you can get around that. Instead of cash, you can get a cashier's check for it. There's a couple of other ways, but the long story short is, yeah, you got a government system. It don't make no sense. Your money's been in there for a year. It's paid taxes on it already. That's a savings. That's your money. You should be able to go in there at any moment and say, show it to me. Show me my money. All of it.
but
Where's my
I think that I think
we
we're,
forgot
what we were saying before.
we forgot too that, remember this, in your bank account, they don't have your money. Go in and ask your bank to show you your money. They're going to tell you, we can't do that. We don't do that. Here, we'll give you a receipt. It's a digital. Here we go. Centralization. You mean to tell me they don't even have their money? No, they don't. They don't have your money in a box, in a vault, in a bank. It says your name on it, has your exact account, and they put cash in there. It's all digital. No one has your money. You hope that this digital world. Remember when the banks failed in 08? Or even in 23, when we had a Silicon Valley Bank here failed because of something that went down in 21, 22.
Mhm.
Jessica was here with us.
Well, that was it failed. It went even faster because
Silicon Valley Bank
yeah,
had gotten washed out.
when it went even faster because because of tweeting caused a run on it, and I get that. But the point that I wanted to make is this: I think, as we said before, I believe that AI is going to bring about more accountability one way or the other. And what I'm looking forward to seeing, and why we even went down the road of the U.S. elected official project, which I put the thing up on the screen a little while ago. I'll put it up before we end again.
Yeah, I saw that.
Is excuse me, is that when you start putting a face to these things, well, what exactly is happening in this 10 days that you're holding my money that you can't figure out? And who can't figure it out? Who says you can't figure it out?
The hold, the bigger the amount of money, the longer the hold. And the hold is to discourage anything fraudulent, because fraudulent activity happens right now. Fraudulent activity does not ever agree with, oh, yeah, go ahead and hold it, check it all out, get it to me whenever you can. A fraudulent activity is like, boom, boom, it's happening right now. And the moment that it doesn't, It doesn't have, it deters the fraudster. They go somewhere else to try to do that somewhere else. So it's all for your safety. This weight on your
well, ladies and gentlemen, you're about to see the spirited debate firsthand, because that statement is where I feel we keep getting like
there's nothing for me to debate because I think like
he's
I was
backpedaling.
saying,
Yeah,
I had it happen to me.
right.
No. I had it. If I had it happen, so I can't even be anyone.
Well,
you're
stating
the
answers.
I'm the other guy, and all I'm saying is, hey man, here, this is what the answer to that. That's what they told me. I had to wait. There was nothing I could do.
That's what I was about to say.
Bank account right now. You forgot about that. Oh, you're not giving me my money? Okay, cancel my account right now. Not in 10 days. We ain't putting a hold on this. Cancel my shit now. I'm right here. Sign. Give me my money now.
Right.
Ready? Sorry, you didn't hear what I said. Yes. Here, pulled out the paper. Here, go ahead and sign right there. We'll close your account right now. You only get $5,000. You only get whatever is in our protocol that we've set into place. You're gonna get an IOU from us to come back in 7 days, and your money will be available. Oh, okay. So he ain't even talking about give me some of my money.
Right. So here's where I'm at.
Cancel it out. Give it to me. I don't want to talk to you anymore. No.
Well, here's where I'm at with it, right? So and where I feel, again, the information and the accountability comes into play. I would love to know who came up with that and why it takes so long. Don't give me the, we're checking for fraud. Okay, great. You're checking for those things. Why does that take so long? Who's responsible? Who's making it take that long? Where'd they go to school? Hang on. Where'd they go to school? How much money do they make? And why does it still take so long? This is corporate. We're talking corporate now. We're not talking about everyday
and then they'll explain to you and I disagree with all of it from that side. So they got, for like Wells Fargo, I think there's 6 main hubs in the country. Let's say San Francisco, LA, New York, somewhere Florida. There's 6 main hubs, and they doing the double standard and check. It's going to take 2 days for the computer, both analog, digitally, however, with the manager coming back in. We're going to be having someone looking at your money as it's going through the checks and balances. So it's going to go through Chicago computer bank and make sure ain't no one. It's going to go through all the United States banks and make sure that there's no one holding you hostage or claiming, trying to do something illegal, that it's legit. First of all, they're going to go and see, have you ever done this before? Because if they don't, they'll get security, they'll get police involved. You taking out $10,000, you've never done it before. You're 55 years old. For your safety, we think that you could be getting hijacked out in the parking lot and someone making you come in and do this.
Before we get too long in the tooth, here's the nightmare scenario. Okay, so you get your money out, right? And you're going to love this because it's going to tie right into the U.S. elected officials, document, which I'm going to put up on the screen again because, just for props. So here goes. You wait your 10 days. Now you're mad. You take your money out, right? And you leave the bank. Well, guess what? You get pulled over by the sheriff. You already know where I'm going with this. You get pulled over by the sheriff, and he's like, hey, seems like you have a lot of money there, buddy. I suspect that might be ill-gotten gains from a criminal enterprise. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to hold on to that. I'm not going to charge you with anything. But if you can prove to me that this money wasn't ill-gotten, however long that takes, whatever lawyers you got to get, that's not my department. I'm just doing my job.
Mm-hmm.
Then you can have the money back.
Correct.
Never mind, it might be for your rent or whatever. Whatever. But here's the thing: if you don't prove it, it's going into my budget.
That's fine.
How's that sound?
Did you know it works the other way around too? Oddly enough, You all happy? You happy as a clam
Which
when
is
you go to the bank with a $20,000 check.
right.
Pretty happy day to go put in 20 grand. You know, deposit, I don't know. You get a little receipt, bank teller, ATM, whatever you did.
Mm.
20 grand. $400 is available from your account right now. $19,600 has been put on hold for a minimum 3 days. And if it's 20 grand, probably a 5 or 7. It's the same thing when you deposit
Oh
money.
yeah.
And this is what they stand on. These are the laws. They've been put into place because of so much fraud. It's to say we can't function as a bank. Here's what they stand on. We can't function as a bank. We losing too much money if we don't have these safety checks in place. So it goes through all their system and it checks that you are, first of all, you paying taxes. You criminally, just like you're saying, are they criminally involved? As it goes through 7 days, bro, believe it. Believe it. It's checking you out all day long to verify, yeah, he's done this before. He does 10,000, and they just they send it right through. If you've never done it before, it'll take those extra days. It could take 3 to 5, 7, up to 7, up to 10. That's right. If you've done the transaction before, you'll have it in 24 hours because you're being vetted as you do it. First time, bro, I'm thinking, no, they are thinking, make sure that there's nothing criminal. It could be the same thing, like you laughing. You know it's happened. I've seen stories, datelines or whatever about it. Dude go grabbing someone, taking them. They got the kid in the house. You stay here. They take the mom or the dad down to the thing and empty out your bank account. 5 grand. That happens. It's happened a lot. So that's why there's that. But going through all those days,
I'm not doubting that. I'm just saying
all those days that it's going through is checking that, you pay your taxes. You're not, oh, bro, if you're a felon and you're legit for 20 years, you turned a new leaf. You go to take out that 10 grand,
right.
It's going to come up that you are a felon. And it goes through another channel just to verify. Yeah, he clean felon. Okay, give him the money. It going through everything in your life now because the banks are attached to everything that you are. Social Security, all of your taxes, and everything that you pay. It's all of the monies that are happening. So and again, now they tied in, the banks are tied in with the IRS, the government, very much so. So if the government finds out that you owe, they just take it out of your bank. That happened to me too. I didn't pay taxes for a few years. I had a great, big job going. Good, $1 million year gross. Almost couple $100,000 in material that I had a platinum Amex I was running off of. I didn't pay my taxes for a few years. All of a sudden, I think they sent me something, probably whatever, but I was just ignoring it. They closed my account. They're the only ones who are able to get your money right now by pushing a button. They shut my account down. Because I didn't pay, because we're all on a system from birth to death, from your birth certificate to your death certificate. That's a circle, and everything you do inside of there is connected. And used to be not so much. Used to be analog, a bunch of files, and loosey goosey, and that's why crime and bad nefarious things were able to slither through and make more money than our world itself. Nefarious money makes more than legit money. Period. So it's to keep all that checks and balances in. I disagree with all of it. Like I said, I got hammered. I got told by my bank no. So all that shit's bullshit. But hey, I had to live with it, and I didn't close my account. You know why? I'm going to go start a new bank account somewhere else. Bro, they keep track of the years now.
Worse.
How long you been with us? And you're going to take your mad money that you just had off of an account that you've had for 20 years at a bank and go open it up at Wachovia or Santa Cruz National or some other bank that's promising you the world. You have no idea of the probation period. Baby, check it out. Anyways,
See, you
you
got
got me
that
all you
fancy,
got me all
you got your
going,
fancy
dude.
Mac thing. You make
On my
hearts and it's it. Well, that's good. Like I think it's
watch
important that people
there.
actually see that, these
They said,
conversations need to happen. The conversations need, and by the way, you got your fancy Mac or whatever it is. You make hearts and the
yeah,
hearts
yeah.
are popping up on the screen. I don't know if you know that. Yeah, you got, if you do thumbs up, it's probably gonna do it. Like, yeah, look at that, look at that. See, I don't have that. You stunting over there. Okay, but but I think it's important that you know people see that these conversations are happening, and the stuff that we were talking about before. Like, I didn't realize that the sheriff could just run up on you and take your money. I'm not saying they're gonna do that, but I'm saying it can happen. And if you don't know, that's not good. And that's a 4-year position. That's not the kind of thing you want to be rubber stamping. Like, to me, I think that certain things that elected officials, you want to participate in that process. I think.
Sure
I
do.
think it behooves you to do that, because then you start getting fees and all sorts of things that happen, water rates and what have you. And to make sure we don't miss this opportunity, I'm going to pull up a document here,
Look,
just
if
to
you
kind of
don't
just.
participate, you don't get to participate.
Mm,
That's just the way it is. So you don't have anything to say if you don't participate.
yeah.
You kind of can't say, "Well, I didn't know." You can't
Right.
say, "I missed the
Right.
voting
Right. Right.
date."
Right. Right.
You can't
Mm-hmm.
say what is Proposition 50. You can't say anything, and I think that's where
Mm-hmm.
people are at, living hand to mouth. Don't give a shit of my French. Don't care
Mm-hmm.
what's going on. Barely making it. Why can I care about outside of my own house
Mm-hmm.
when I'm barely holding, barely making it monetarily, relationship
Right.
wise, whatever the case may be. So ain't no
Right.
time to think about who's in office, bro. As a nation, I think that a majority of us really don't have time to care. But we're reaping the repercussions of that because decisions and policies that get put in place that affect us, we gripe. We unhappy about this, and we want to do something about it. Well,
Well, that's one of
I
the
mean,
things
there's
that I feel
really
like I
only
hope
one way.
we're able to accomplish, in that, giving people back some time or a little more efficiency in doing it. I'm going to pull this document up because you're always the biggest proponent, thank God, um, reminding us that we should, visually show some things. Just tell me if you're seeing this, or not, if it's coming up. Let's see. I don't know where I am now. Let's see. Okay. Can you see that?
Yeah.
Yeah. Can you see that? Right. So, I can't see that. I'll just tell me if this is scrolling or not. I'm gonna go to the actual document. Can you? Is the document moving?
Yeah, you're
Okay.
you're
Okay.
you're
Okay.
fine,
Okay. Good.
and people
Yeah,
can
okay. Good.
expand their screen, zoom
Yeah.
in,
Yeah.
zoom
Yeah.
in, and make that
I just want
whole.
to make. Yeah.
You can make that whole share your whole screen by zooming in. Very simple.
Right. Right.
If it's a, if it's a,
So,
if it's a Mac, you just you pinch and blow up, and if it's Windows, it's a mouse up in your toolbar to zoom in.
right. So I just wanted to kind of quickly, let people know that when you go to that Bitly link, it's going to ask you for your Google account. Not that we're trying to track you or send you spam or whatever the case may be. We just want to know who we're connecting with so that you can participate in the process. And because, again, there's no cost to this per se. The participation is the payment, really, if you want to consider it that way. The point is, if you look in here, you see sample outputs from some of these, some of the different areas that were there. That it's going to take a little while for it to come up. Okay, so this is Tampa Bay, St. Pete area here. And again, with just putting in a zip code, you get an executive summary of what's going on. It tells you who your representatives are, gives you kind of little synopsis of what what they've done, and what they stand for, some of their policies, sort of situation. And it starts to go into the different positions that are part of your area, you know non-elected officials, positions of influence, You got the mayor, the city council, some of the other items that, the other positions that are there. Then you have, which I'll get into this that in a minute. But it shows you where the money is being allocated and how, what the budget amount is, where there might be some tax relief, items that are there. And we specifically put in things that, that were, focused on our most vulnerable populations, like seniors, veterans, that sort of thing, homeless, uh, because women, children, like those sorts of things that make that where we might be seeing opportunities, if you would, to be able to see what programs might be available. And just to put a point on it, one of the things they discovered in the area here was a $75,000 second loan, for first time home buyers um, that is zero interest, and you don't have to pay it back if you live in your house for 10 years. So I thought that was pretty interesting. I didn't know about it before I actually ran this. So, drinking the Kool-Aid here. And then it gives you like a framework, things to do, um, things that you can do to improve your civic participation, if you would. Now, this is a long document here, and I don't want to belabor it, but it breaks down like the top 3 things you can do, the top 10 things you can do, and the top 25 things you can do. And this was just the start of it. And this is just because, again, we wanted to know what was helpful to our situation, getting more civically engaged, because it's terrible to wake up and go, I don't even know who my council person is, or assemblyman, or whatever the case may be, or even what they do. What am I supposed to be getting that I'm unaware of? Like, those sorts of things start to come up. And there's even like even podcast versions that we put in here, that you're just able to listen if you want. And those will also be permissioned when you that's another reason why we use your Google account, and we make it so that you sign up with your Google account, because we can permission other things that are within the document, because this is a living, breathing document. But we also have, in Spaces, just a text document. You could just do it on your own and not engage with us at all if you want. If you want the additional samples of what other people have seen, because like here's one in Washington, D.C., like in the Virginia, Maryland area, again, same thing. It gives you, a sense of what things are there. And there's all sorts of details. And I'm going to pull up another document that kind of gives you, I'm going through this pretty quickly. I don't want to spend um, too much time on it, but you have the same basic things, the top 3 things you can do, the top 10 things you can do, the top 25 things you can do. We're in the process of putting some of this stuff into like a more user friendly version, and hopefully get people to the point where maybe you don't have the time to go through this type of research on your own. But I feel confident in saying that you will win on the time arbitrage. It will put you in a position where you can just do something pretty quickly and get a result that's super specific to you, which is what I think which is one of the things we pride ourselves on. Again, if the culture fits, so do you. If you're thinking about something that is affecting your life and where you live, and the things that you're trying to get done, and you live in a particular area and you're part of that community, why not have something that dives into that, the fabric of the community, so that when you um, ask your questions, it'll give you some sense of where where things are. I'm going to stop sharing this document. I'm going to show you another really quick piece, because I skipped over some of the spreadsheet like things that we changed in order to we changed the formatting because it didn't show up well in the document. It was just unhelpful, if you would. But I think, opening the document up and having, people see the actual spreadsheet, it'll give it will give folks a better sense of it. So just bear with me here. I'm gonna share that, and then okay, here we go. All right. So if you look at if you see here, you start to see this is the one for Washington, D.C. So now you see a bit more about how it's broken down. So you have the program ID, you have the program name, the category, the description of it, the eligibility that's there, the cost and the access. So this is where we start to really get a little bit more um, organized in terms of how it lays out so that you can quickly see how these things impact you. So now you have, what's the agency, what's the cost of the access, what are the criteria, the specific officials that are connected to it, what's the impact with the score rating, the urgency, the momentum, what direction is it, the trajectory going in. There's a little icon here, that tells you what direction is it going. Is it trending up, trending down, is it staying the
There's a
same?
lot more
And
in
then
there than you're
where
ever
it
gonna
was.
realize. Period.
Right, and that you're not gonna like again, saying that, depending on what position you're in, obviously not like in survival mode, because then this probably doesn't apply very much, if at all. But if you're in a position where you would like to do more, but you got kids, you got other things, but you just don't want to do nothing, this is certainly better than nothing with a much smaller barrier to entry, if any. It's a very small barrier to entry if you're interested, and maybe you're not. But I think that when you start to see um, items that take a little bit more time and show you what are the programs available where I am based on my my zip code or whatever address you put in. I don't recommend putting in your home address. Put in the library or put in something in your zip code or something. I'm just saying that's my personal view. But you start to get a better sense of what's around you, and it opens your mind to other opportunities that might apply that you didn't even know existed. Because if you know better, you do better, and that was the hope, um, that we pray that at least some one person gets advantage, a value out of this, and then as more of this becomes a community focus, I think it becomes something where, as you saw, people are sharing their results. Like this one that you're looking at is from Washington, D.C., which is, another friend of the show. Um, Shout out Imperial Oil over in the DMV area. But by sharing this information and being able to compare the insights, now we start to see what the states look like. So for Dan and I living, East Coast, West Coast, it's always interesting to see things that are polarizing. Like, talk a little bit about what you saw when you looked at the Florida document initially compared to California.
Oh, the big one was their salary, the salary differences. So different states run differently. We are all our United States. Yay. But I think there's a lot of variance from where you are, Nigel, to where I am. A lot of people, a lot of differences of opinion, a lot of different thoughts. Hopefully, there's no longer an us and them, but specifically for the document there, yeah, there's a lot in there. There's also dashboards that are being created for these documents. I don't know how much we're parceling out at one time. Like for the document that you're showing, Nigel, quite a large document. And if even you walking through it right now, if you're not someone who actually creates these kind of things, you just navigating through it it's a chore to figure out. So that's why there's single pages that are going to be put out, a little more help for you too. And it's like anything you're talking about, libraries or government or something. It's an endless plethora of information. So
Right.
there's a cutoff limit somewhere. But to be concise and take everything that you can pretty much possibly get and put it into a document that's live again, it's active, so this can be redone in a year, 60 days after the election of 2026. You run this governance document again, and it's going to have a completely different output. By
Mm,
then, most likely the AIs are going to be constantly being updated,
mm.
changes. You're going to have other formats, and things are going to be constantly being improved in these documents. Always, they're evergreen and everlasting. And the big take away from it is, for me, is the information's there. I have a lot of anxiety about complaining about something, the bad roads, the bad anything going on in my, especially my local jurisdiction. If I don't know anything about it, I really shouldn't complain about it. And then someone who does that, in my opinion, this is me, someone who does that I see or run into, I really don't put a lot of value on what they say, because ignorance is bliss kind of thing. They don't know. Not gonna, they don't know. They're just blurting. They're upset because of an outcome that they chose not to join into, and find out where's the rules, where's the boundaries,
Right.
where's the box that I get it. So the documents are there to help people do the hard work already for them. Nigel just had said, if you're just typing in a address or a zip code, it's a done for you document. You're going to have a lot for the governance document. You're going to have a lot of information that's there. It's going to tell you about local jurisdiction all the way up to the president of the United States. But more importantly, I think for most people, their local jurisdictions, those things are the things that affect specifically. You have multiple votes that come up. For us here in California, we have a Prop 50 that's just come upon a voting ballot out of, I don't want to say out of nowhere, but it's specifically for one thing. If you don't know anything about it, my opinion or suggestion would be, don't vote. Maybe that's, or you can lean into trusting a friend, vote the party line, trust a friend, whatever someone else says. But if you don't have the information, if you don't know what it's about, what it involves, what maybe the best thing to, but that's not very good either. How are we becoming a voting country if we don't participate? So the idea is to participate. These type of documents make it much more participation friendly.
Yes.
Is a good terminology. It makes it very much more easier to do. The names, salaries, who's in your assemblies at the current moment, when your supervisors have meetings, how can you participate through a Zoom, through a Skype, through a stream of some kind. These things are all happening, and I think that if you can participate, that'd be great. And if you can't, another cool thing, they're recorded. We're holding these people accountable now. So the
Well,
streaming
well,
is
well. Tell them. Like, well, let's. Yeah, again, I like I like examples. So think about this. We're drinking the Kool-Aid here. We made these documents for ourselves first and foremost. To find out what was it, because we were upset. Not upset. We were tired of just not knowing. That's one thing. You talk it like,
that
but
was my main issue, not
right.
knowing, and then actually we started talking about it on the radio show that we were doing, Nigel. So
Yeah.
here's the thing: I'm being asked to talk about something, and I have two choices. I can fake it, lie, cheat, steal. Pick one. All the bad. It's bad, or don't say anything, or participate, and I can learn, so I can have something to say that's actually validated. No one really talks out of turn when they have no idea what they're talking about. Most people. A
Right.
fool does. That's biblical. A fool talks like that, not knowing what
Right.
they talking about. They blurt. No one, and a wise person never listens to a fool. We know that too. So
But
that
but
that
there's
that's
so much could be garnered from, like, think about this. We started talking about this. We created a
the Culture
document.
55 is about. I think that specifically for our age, it's specifically for people who have lived a season of life and are in a transitional. It's back to independence again, I believe. Of a 55 nature, most likely you've had your children, their home or not, doesn't matter. You've had the whole experience your life, and maybe you're back at 55, kind of like you were back at 20. Not the same number, not the same person. I'm talking about the independence again. Whether you're able to start something new, possibly you're getting to retire. Life's rhythms, and it ain't at the
Mhm.
number 55. I think we just all realize that it becomes around then. We get in gray, our bodies change, our life has had 30 years of a type of life, and there is it has nothing to do with hope. This is a better journey. Life should be always uh, uh, temporally and mentally always a climb all the way to the end. Physically, we gonna break down a little bit, but always learning, always trying, always figuring out. You know, the old cliche about the more you know, the more you realize you don't know. That's a great that's a great one. That's what a smart person says. You know, if I'm the smartest person in the room, I'm in the wrong room. No matter how smart he is, he's gonna say that.
Well, you start seeing some of the things like
To go to a
we
room
talk,
where there's someone smarter than him
right?
so that he can be challenged and learn also. So I think that that's what we're doing with this culture. I think that's where the documents are. I think that, you know, putting those two in, that's great. That's probably that would be more than I could handle. If it were me and I was looking at those two, I would choose the library project. Little more user friendly, maybe a little more you know, we got a year before we have an election, so you can do both, you know. But when you go to figure out or dive in anything governance or elected official, that's you know, round two
It's
kind of thing.
heavy, you know. So I'm gonna piggyback off of what you said because
The library
the
project
thing
is
is,
where I
we
would have,
looked at
you
the
know, you would jump into it. Since the one pager is not there, you're verbalizing the one pager. Here's the whole document. What it is about is you. It's been tokenized for you. A plethora of information for you specifically, not from me, from the AI system, from the data that's out there that's been done for you in this document page. All you got to do, I'm pointing over there. All you got to do is click the link, open it up, and put your zip code in. Now you have something, a piece of information from just the library project. Most people be listening, or if they can watch this, they don't even know that all the libraries around them have been remodeled and redone. They all knew, the whole country, all the way up to Alaska, baby,
because it's in
Hawaii.
the
They all
budget.
done.
It's in the budget.
Billions of dollars been put in. There's a lot of information that's at your library. Your library card is free. The information is free. They don't just have books down there anymore. There's conference rooms, and to be reserved, they don't pay. Those are free too. Independent study rooms, workshops constantly going on. Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Saturdays. The ones that I've looked into for my neighborhood are a lot of iPhone skills are being taught right now, because I guess maybe that's a culture 55 kind of thing. You know, people be wanting to know how to use their smartphone better. But specifically for the library, you know, I feel that if you got a library card, even if you never used it, guess what you did? You became part of your community a lot more than you were before you got your library card. Go on down there, say hi to just the librarian and say, what's going on around here? What, you talk to you for 5 or 10 minutes and blow your mind with all these things that they offer. It ain't books, it's digital stuff, sound recording, little studio you can reserve in some of them. That's why you got to download the document, and it'll give you all your libraries within 25 miles, and your bigger one's going to have the sound inside of them. The little library, the smaller one out in the cut, ain't gonna have the sound library, but the one near downtown is gonna have that. And you know, so it's lots of flavors in there, and that's a lot right there. Even you can still get your library card online, and you can still do the library digitally. You don't ever have to go down there. You can still function in the library straight from your device at home. Now, that's a proof case that you've gotten into a community, and a big one, not just here with us. You're now in the library community. They also have newsletters, workshop rooms, technical questions. You can reserve a librarian or a technical people that go to the library volunteer. If you have a technical question, they'll give you 30-minute free, you know, uh, um, help. You get to go and talk to them for 30 minutes about your technical. So they have those a few times a week. I can go on and on and on about the things the library provides.
But I'm gonna
But
go some. I'm gonna
what I'll
give some
end
broad
my
strokes. Good.
let me just get to the end of what
Yeah.
I'm saying.
Yeah.
So you get a card, you do it digitally, you become part of your community where you're at. You're also becoming part of a community with us. You'll start to feel that, and then here's where I want to dovetail perfectly into. Now maybe you're ready for an elected official document because you're kind of seeing how this thing's flowing, how the information you got for this easy library card adoption was to come in, all for you. You know, this is all for you. It's like give you a library card, give you all the information. You sign up, you get your card, you got all this digital free access because to everything in the library now. You can check out digital books. You can, you know, like I say, and just go on and talk in the workroom, the chat room in your library. You're going to probably find someone you know that you haven't talked to, someone from church or someone from the gym or something is inside, maybe inside the library chat. You're like, oh, hey, Sally. Yeah, I remember I saw you. We met at the gym, you know, a couple months. I didn't know you were in the library. What are you doing over there? It's a community thing. And I think that it's perfect because it's just gentle enough where there's no expectations and it's proof. It's library. It's free. Ain't no one on the back end trying to strong arm anyone's even thoughts. We're not trying to grab anyone's even attention. We want you. This is a help for you, and it's a time saver to help you see what's going on around some people's minds, what they're putting together, documents that help people move through life a little more simplistically. Because Nigel, I wouldn't jump on any elected official page had we not do a document like this. I before knowing these things, would never do it, wouldn't know how to. But if someone handed me these links, I'd look through them. Once I look through them, I'd be going, this is pretty cool. And when I think of something like that to myself, I'd be more than I stand behind it. You know, I mean, I'm here with you, standing behind the links and especially where they're at. But yes, I think I took up enough there. The library one was a great kickoff, and I think that, you know, there's still a lot of time for that. And hopefully if we just get a couple people to respond to that, we can, you know, dive into library assets and have you used it and have your little community built in from there. The elected official one, jump into that one and hold on tight because they got a lot of life raft emojis in that doc.
Dan, you taking shots at the nth degree? Is that that's what happened? That's what happened?
No, that's all. That's all good. You got to be ready for the document. If you're going to jump into a document, you know, get in there and hold on because there's a lot there for you, and it's again, it's all there to be digested at your leisure. Oh, by the way, and we never mentioned this one. Anything in these documents, if you don't understand something about it, check this out. You highlight a section that you don't understand. You put that into your own AI. And you say, I'm reading this and I don't understand it. Make it more layman for me. Make it like I'm in a classroom and it's being taught so it's just a no-brainer. Break it down for me. Give me 10 examples of how this works. So yeah, for everybody listening, you take these documents. They ain't too much. You digest them as you see fit. And there's AI there to help you. But most importantly, there's humans right here that can help you too. We're here.
Well, I think I'm gonna jump on top of that and say this. You know, just to give some context, this is more than a year in the making. You know, we didn't just wake up and go, oh yeah, elected officials, and you know, you see what it is. We've been doing it for a while, and we've been drinking the Kool-Aid along the way. We've done the documents together, and just so some context, some backstory. You know, Dan's been in building all his life. You know, and I'm the one who's been more in technology, but all of his AI is new. So when people say, oh, I'm an AI expert, like, yeah, how much of an expert are you going to be? Really? You know, ChatGPT has been out 3 years. You know, like, come on, you know, so, but the point is, we see a lot of these things, and we were laughing the other day about this. Learn AI. If you're over 55, you only know about ChatGPT. Well, I'm just going to say it because I feel like I could say it. Culture 55. Who better to talk about AI over 50 than if you're over 50 in active practice? I'll let that
I think
sink
everybody anybody that can hear or will see this has seen the course.
Oh yeah,
40. It was over 50. This was I think last year. 50, right. You can learn AI in 30 days, but now it's gone down to 40. They moved it to 40. So it's this thing. I think it's kind of a scare tactic. Also, you don't know AI.
It's fear mongering
for sure. You getting a little old. Have you noticed that anyone younger than you knows how to text faster than you, and they do things like this differently than you do. You feeling like a little behind, a little antiquated. Well, you could do these courses 15 minutes a day for 30 days, and you be working, 9 figures for Meta, right? That's
And
what I read.
and there's the spice, just all the way up. Just
That's
crank the dial to the
it's
top.
it seems that easy. That's just how you do this. Come on
Well,
now.
when we
We
discussed it, the
we
thing, and I knew this would
again
happen, he was
55.
like 15 minutes, 15 minutes. I put my name in. I just signed up. Like, what are you
That
talking
ain't
about?
right.
That
You can't
I'm
do
gonna
anything for 15 minutes. You can't do anything for 15 minutes a day and be
no.
expecting like you knowing something. Nigel, how long? We a year.
We've been
And
going
we
not a year for
Nigel
every
and I,
document,
it's not
but
like once a week.
yeah, but there are things that are actively breaking.
Yeah. How
Like,
about
forget
that?
about let's say you're perfect. You know everything, right? There are things that we're seeing regularly that break. They don't work. Like, think about that. So even if you're perfect, so now you're telling me first you're crapping on me because I'm older, you know. Then you're telling me you're going to teach me in 15 minutes like I'm going to be amazing. And the person teaching me is not the person in my, demographic that's doing the work. But the point in all this is how the library document came about. We were sitting, got enough group. We started talking about what we're doing to combat against our own complaining. And then we decided, a bunch of us said, hey, let's figure out, go to our library, get a library card. And some people went down, got their library card, and then we started going through the zip codes, because practical value is one of the things, the cornerstones of Culture 55. You need practical things. That's that stage of life. I think always you need it. But think about this. You may not be 55 now, but do you actually want to wait until you're 55? Maybe you get some insight into what might be waiting for you, and you preempt some of the, this will be a place to consider starting. Because if you're 10 years in on the elected officials document and you're working towards, let's say you're 45 or even 40, and you're like, I know I'm gonna be here, I'm gonna keep pushing, making sure that when I get to that, season of my life, the shelves aren't bare,
Right.
like that's not going to be helpful to me. But think about, free audio books that you could download 30 at a time, where my library is, recording studios, 3D printers. There's all sorts of things that are available, and not everything is everywhere, but you start to see that there's things that taxpayer money paid for that you have at your fingertips. So you don't have to do without. Consumer Affairs magazines. Have we seen the prices of magazines? Again, you could download them on your phone. And again, the
Well,
library card is free.
that's why the magazines are so expensive, bro.
Right.
I can't get at some of that stuff. When everything goes digital and the magazines aren't being bought anymore, Sports Illustrated, $19.99.
There you go.
And I'm not exaggerating. $17 for a good sport,
Yep.
like one of the swimsuit, or the what March Madness,
Right.
NBA final, 4 or 5 of those issues through the year. They're gonna charge you 20 subscriptions, 14, $15 for a magazine. Is it? Whoa, that's crazy money.
That's a hit to the budget right there. Well, think about this. You start seeing
who under 40, and 55. That's 1985. Okay, who under 40 never subscribed to a magazine in their life, unless there was some money on the back end. We give you $20. Who subscribing to Sports Illustrated in 1990? If you were born in 85, you were 2000. You growing up. You're 15 years old. You right in the technical age, bro. That's so antiquated. Newspapers. Bye. Newspapers make me feel probably the biggest antiquated thing, because anybody under 40, I'm just going to throw the numbers around like that because it seemed like, so we'll say it's generational. There's a generational gap where people are still putting fingers on paper, and they like to sipping coffee in the morning, and that population dying off quick every day. You know, old World War II guys are gone, man. The dudes, you know, my
Well, there was
daughter's
you ever seen the art to folding the New York Times?
Go ahead.
I didn't know how to do it. They tried to show me, but it was like, dude, there were folks who they on a train in New York, dude, it was an art form. You fold your paper and it was skinny, like about this big, and you
Yeah.
can just hold it with your coffee and
right.
then you flip
right.
it and then you get the rest of it.
Oh,
It was
I remember, and if you were like on a train or in a restaurant or something, it'd be like people would be looking at each other. Someone be reading their paper and they like they leave it and leave it there, leave without it. You be seeing people looking around, going, "You gonna grab that? Because I'm gonna grab that right now. If you ain't coming, I need that sports pay." They'd be doing like that in their eyes.
right, right.
I'm about to grab that. You cool with that? You know, someone never be I don't know about a fight.
But think about this, right? What you just said there is another indication, more manual, you know, retro, nostalgic. I need the sports section. I don't care about the rest of it. I want the sports section. That's my lane. I'm trying to get that.
That's why he don't buy the paper. I ain't paying 3 cents for the New York Times when coffee costs 3 cents.
Right.
I'm getting my coffee. I'm on the train. I'm on the subway, drinking my coffee. I'm watching all these dudes with their paper, homie, and I'm only looking at the suits because they getting up to Wall Street and they set the paper.
They might not even be reading the sports page. They might just give it to you.
Yeah, or leaving there or whatever. Yeah, you may run into a dude who going the same place. Now you gold. You just ran into the goose. You just ran into the goose. Oh, you work with me and you leave it. I'll see you tomorrow, right? Right?
Now you got a subscription. Now you got a subscription.
This is a 2 for 1. He signed me up on the family plan. This is great. This is where it all started, on the subway.
And that's where it began. That brain trial, you know, it was birth right there.
Bro, the family plan started on the subway. Seriously, just like that.
There you go. But that's how it's going to start here.
You say, yes, I agree 100%. I only want
so let me tie this up. Let me tie this up with a bow. So what you're going to find is when you start using any of these documents, you know, it opens up curiosity. Sometimes I believe a lot of the time that you start noticing things. So maybe you've used ChatGPT or you've used some AI. You're going to see these documents, some work went into it, because if you just think, oh yeah, I'm just going to put in elected officials, enter. What you see in that output is not what you're going to get. And that's going to be obvious. And that's where, you know, if you're interested enough, if it resonates enough, if the culture fits, and so do you, you're going to start to say, well, wait a minute, what else can I do with this? And that's where the upcoming Q&As and the dashboards to try to make it a little bit cleaner, because we're working towards it. That's why you have a 3-step, a 10-step, a 25-step, because not everybody wants to boil the ocean. Not everybody wants to go to the nth degree. If you can get 3 things, 2 things, 1 thing that you could just go execute against, that's a win. A little bit better every day. You know, we the do better boys over here, you know, getting it in, you know, might be a low bar to some, but it still works.
No, actually, and again, you're pretty fortunate that the links are there like that, because these documents, in my opinion, those are money documents. If you were so inclined to be able to understand them, I would venture guess and say you would also be so inclined to reverse engineer them for yourself and use them in your way, however you want to. In other words, tokenizing or whatever you want to do. That's what I see. I see in the document.
But it also helps to open up the doors.
Danny. I'm going to use this in.
Well, yeah, but it opens up the doors to seeing that you can use it for other things.
Well, I mean, I don't know. Listen, we haven't created the dashboard out of it, but the dashboard for both of those, that's the link. That's the great. A lot of usage out of it, real quick, super
visual.
I get this. Oh, right. And totally workable. Layman 7th grade. I don't all them docs and all that. Whoa, and all the blue links and man, a lot there, all tabs and a dashboard for that stuff. So everybody who can ever find this video or ever watch it, God bless you. You got something that probably, in my opinion, we're going to have a 50-50 vote. Someone's going to have to do that tiebreaker. I'm voting on dashboards. It's much more friendly, much more digestible, super encourageable, get people very excited about it, so
Q and A's are going to be huge. Q and A's are going to be the counterpart to the dashboards, because again, when you start looking at some of this stuff, inevitably you're going to have questions, because there's things that you and I have done together that we still have questions about. Like, wait a minute, what did we do there? Because it's a lot, and it's not the same looking at something, even if it's a dashboard, even if it's simple, and spending time with another person going over it and saying, did you try this? Did you try that? Seeing what the differences might be.
These
Very
docs
different.
here, though, even mistakenly putting in the prompt, bro, you got the thing with the thumb saying, here, put this in. So, I mean, if someone's using AI a little bit, they can have some good fun with that. They're going to find out that they're going to be getting some really good information. And they'll also see that inside those docs is a lot of work. Those aren't prompts. Those are prompts on top of prompts on top of prompts into multiple AIs, back into them again, resiphoning, regenerating to get an ultimate verifiable account, verifiable source. So we can stand on.
And just to talk about Claude, my new favorite.
We can also stand on the fact that we don't have anything at the end of the doc saying, results are going to vary. Check us out for mistakes. We could be wrong. I mean, if we're feeling like we're mistaken, we might want to put those in parent. But if not, if we're comfortable enough with the research and the work that was done, and I'm telling you, these documents are hours. Could be the government could be days.
Oh, the government was definitely days. Like, the bottom line is, you're going to find this is the most we were able to find, and I'm not saying it's 100% correct, because the AIs are telling you that they might have mistakes.
What it is
I'm saying that we've done a substantial amount of work to make sure that it has the best chance at being correct.
It has the best of what's available today. That's what we can stand on. That these AIs are going to be changed into next year. It's going to be AGI. So you're going to have meta prompting, and you're going to have AGI. It's artificial generative intelligence. That's what we're doing. We're generating the intelligence. They couldn't put the G in front yet because billions of people haven't generated it yet. Now we're going to AGI. That's a generative AI that's been used for 5 years, generated in multiple AIs through multiple companies. So that's why the AI is going to always change. It's going to hopefully always get better. But us here today, 100%. There's 2 documents there that, yeah, those are
the insights across the different outputs are going to be good, because when you start to see
kudos.
Well, think about this. If you look at the library card across different zip codes, and you start seeing, well, my library has this library has that. Now you start to be able to put the 2 together and say, well, I know this councilman's responsible for the libraries. Hey, man, what's happening with, I need a recording studio. My son or daughter wants to be a musician. How come I saw a big budget? You had the same as Baltimore or whatever the case may be. We don't have that. Why not? What are you doing about it? Because I figured out I'm not voting the party line. So tell me something. Tell me something good.
Every county has been allocated their funds. Every county is independently ran by, like we're talking about, governance. It's an assembly of supervisors that run the district in their counties, and those things they're compartmentalized and they grow out from there. So every county is going to have kind of a different rules based on pretty much everything today is money or consensus. So it's bodies. It's how many people are there generating money. It's a population. So that's why your sound studios are going to potentially, most likely, are going to go near the downtown area where it's most likely that a generative. So each county's most likely only going to get one sound studio. This is what I've seen and learned is that for where I'm at, that you want to have all that. We spent the top tier on one for your county, and it's always near the downtown. That's just how it was worked out. And then something, but like for me, I'm in an unincorporated area, and the library they just did for us is 30 million plus. And my uncle and I have talked about it. We're both contractors all our lives. He's trying to say it's 40 million. So it's not like I'm spitballing a number. 30 or 40 for real, with no guess, just for the one in an unincorporated area.
Wow.
We did. I think we have 9 that have all been done only in our county, little Santa Cruz County. This ain't San Jose, Silicon Valley. Imagine San Francisco. We ain't done the research yet, but so it's all a matter of population. And the one that you're most likely going to have the biggest and the most that was done is near your downtown area. And then as it moves out, some of those smaller things like a recording studio or a dog sitting room, or I don't know, hair grooming or a cooking room, or something like that is going to be not there. I do know that we have a teenager section, so it's like I was trippy on that there's like a whole glass room separate that it's a teenage something, and so it's like under 8, so not adults, juvenile, can go and maybe not feel threatened or not be mixing with the weirdo. Remember the weirdos in the library or whatever back? Oh, that's not funny.
No,
man.
Adult Swim. No Adult Swim.
No, I'm saying the homeless. There's some other people that are roaming around the library, and youngsters who are minors. Think about what they had to go through laws and zoning and coding to build this section that's literally, there's cameras, and it's not like a woo, but it's all being monitored. So minors are going into there to do videoing and streamline conferencing and zooming, and they got a giant screen, a big screen.
But I didn't mention something to you. You made me think about something. Again, and this is where the elected officials document comes in. I remember when I visited, my library for the first time, in Tampa, and I was like, whoa, there's a studio here. And I was talking to the librarian, and she goes, yeah, we have money in our budget for stuff. I don't know what to buy, but if I'll listen. Like, if you know about equipment, like and software, but because, again, I imagine if you're going to put a studio in, there's some kind of budget that goes along with it. Not necessarily, but you don't know until you ask. And if you don't know it exists, you're not going to ask.
I was surprised at the fact that you're in St. Pete, and I saw your Obama library you got cracking.
Just came out.
Yeah. Well, that thing is like, okay, whatever, if you say so. I mean, it's got a pool too, right?
I think so. Yeah.
And a margarita bar and a tiki lounge.
It's got a couple of things.
And a hotel overnight in case you want to stay overnight.
But the bottom line is,
I saw them palm trees out in the front, huge parking lot, all landscaped out with the perfect driveway so everyone can get in and out. The brand new front doors, glass building with all the new stucco front. You guys have spent millions of dollars in St. Pete too.
Listen, this is stuff for the citizens. If you don't know it exists,
and then naming your library after Obama, gonna be throwing whoa,
hey,
big kicking the big spur.
Well, listen, if you got it and we're spending the money, I think we should at least have a say in how some of this is getting used. We can't, complaining about it isn't going to help. How are we using the stuff that we have?
Also in your library, if you've been a lot of people get stuck in a job situation, unintentionally, whatever the COVID may hit you get an age going, hard to get back into it. The technical world picked up, they ain't liking your gray hair and your skills ain't like what they want today. Be scaring the shit out of you forever going back and get a job. The library's got all the technical stuff there that you can on the sneak, like learn. Like if you ain't
LinkedIn
you
Learning
ain't
for free.
dude,
LinkedIn
if
Learning.
you're not working, I'm just spitballing. I started doing it. Hey, if you got free time, you don't have to sit at home. It's boring at home after a while. I think everybody knows that. Too much time on your hands, them idle hands is the devil's playground type thing. And
But you have digital access as well that you could use for stuff that people are paying for.
It's weird when you're in your home. It's like the good contractor that he still always at his house. He still always got 2 fence boards to put up. Okay,
shoemaker's son,
dude. He always, all his jobs 100%, but he never gonna finish his own house because he just ain't gonna, because he does that shit 100 hours a week. And he don't want to come home and I'm done. Ain't doing it. I'm telling you, that's why. Same thing in everything that we do. You staying at home, a lot easier to sit at home, maybe to Netflix. You kicking in the slippers till 11 in the morning. You don't get.
But we're doing it. Listen, you came to the St. Pete meeting. You talk about that. You came to the St. Pete meeting.
I totally did. I'm just saying, if that's the case, I'm not making a suggestion other than I'm throwing it out in the wind. If you at 11 in the morning in slippers, you got time to jam down to the library.
Pick up a library card.
And if you do, it's going to change your life. Because if you in that world, because I've been in it, like you, 11 o'clock, kind of figuring out what you're going to do, good day, whatever. Yeah. It's kind of, you feeling bored or something. There's things that are out there, and then and plus you get there and you start meeting people. Librarian is one of the nicest person in the world, right? Even if you never known a librarian, if you've never known a librarian, you probably have seen one in a movie. And
if they tell you, I wish more people would come in, what does that like? That's what I got. It was like, I wish more people would be interested.
A librarian to me is like, man, they like super special people. They like a teacher on steroids, kind of like. They're not teaching, but they run a whole. They got in their head all this compartmentalization. They know everything about the building, all the things to do. They working with different people. He's the cuckoo homeless coming in all drunk over there to the.
Yeah, that's the way to sell it.
I'm saying that's the far end. He actually slept his sleeping bags outside. He stayed the night. To the 18-year-old here who's trying to do her thesis on her final.
Right.
And they both asking her questions. Now he coming in smelling like not old English, maybe old English.
Hey, but at least listen, you know what? You come in, you get learned. I'd rather that.
I'm saying the librarian person, bro. I've only met a couple, even the one that helped me to hear. They like special people. They real calm. They want to help you. What can we do for you? And you don't know. I really don't know. I've never been here. I don't know that. Well, they'll start you out. Well, I mean, are you looking for books? Digital? Well, we got room. You got your computer. You want to sit down somewhere? Here's the hookups for your jacks. And they start hooking you up. Yeah. Try this chair. These are brand new. Everywhere we go, brand new furniture. Wait till you guys go see this stuff that we got. You're like kicking back like king's quarters, man. In the library.
It's not bad. It's not bad. I feel like once we start to get more of the feedback and the outputs, and we're able to build some insights across the different states and see where it is and attach some of that to the elected officials, then we start to have more of an opportunity to be able to say, well, okay, well, why does this look like this? Why, what does this mean? Comparatively speaking, because then you can compare dollars to dollars. Like, it's one thing to say, well, my town has this and your town doesn't, and the population's way different. But if you marry that with some sort of uniformed metric, and if like you have $2 spent, for every citizen on the library in Florida, and $50 in California, you're like, what happened? Right. Why is that? And these are the questions that we would never even think to ask or have the detail to ask to our local politicians. But that meeting we went to, that thank you for coming, and this is part of what happens here. we look at something and we're going to go and we're going to do the physical part. We're going to do the digital part. We're going to have the conversations about it, across generations or whoever else wants to have it. And we're going to bring that information back to the pot, because this way we're not doing things in a vacuum, which was the purpose all along. But we saw people get up at those meetings, speak, talk about the things that were on their mind. And then we saw the council speak on those items right there. And there weren't a lot of people per se, but the ones that came did get some sort of communication back, and it was run fairly well, and it was broadcast, which I thought was pretty good. And I'd never been to one, shame on me, but it was good to go. And the only reason I even knew about it was because the answer came back in that document that told me when it was coming up.
Yep.
So, I mean, I think, for whatever that's worth, but either way, you end up saving on the time. You don't have to go, write a whole new prompt or whatever the case may be. You could use the one that's there, but you can also see from the process, which I think is a bigger get anyway. When you realize there's things that you can do just because of the output you see, and when we get the databases and when we start having Q&As, it'll start to crystallize, I think, a bit better, and you'll start to see a little bit more insight into what we do on a regular basis, because we have these conversations. Over the year we've had them, and we've seen how the different AIs have throttled back what you're capable of doing. I just saw today Claude, which was, I got to talk about this because it bothered me. I got a big pop-up and it said, do you want to allow us to use your chats as training data? I'm just going to show it. I'm just going to show it.
Did you say no?
Yes, I said no.
Yeah,
I didn't like it. So I mean,
here's what's happening. You've been talking about it a lot.
Yeah.
You're using it enough now, and you've got enough data in there and enough library, and turning them into documents and feeding documents into the AI.
Mm-hmm.
That if something ever came out of what you're building that you found out later, who knows? Maybe a couple of years you can shove an agent AI, say, hey, scrape all the shit and find out who stole from me. Scrape all the stuff and find out who took my documents and who did anything and who made money from it.
Well, okay, so I'm sharing a document now. I think that's going to happen regardless, and I think the folks who are wholesale just taking stuff that's not
really
theirs,
they're asking you. They're asking you for yours. They're not asking me because I haven't used Claude as much as you have. Or put
well, when was the last time I think you might open it and you might be surprised. But anyway, let me go over this real quick.
No, I use.
It
Claude.
says
they just here on Sunday night. Last Sunday, when I made that dashboard,
I
used Claude for a minute. They jacked me out quick. Told me nah, and all this stuff. Well, I don't have enough documents that are in there. They know what you're doing. It's figured out who you are, what you do, what you're doing with documents, that you're putting in documents into something and refining. You're creating basically a teaching tool. So they want to ask you for it just out of the blue, because if you click this, if you scroll the action tab to yes, you're good. They take anything you got and anything that you and I talk about.
Oh, of course. Well, that's a given. They're going to definitely I think they're taking it whether we click the button or not, to be honest.
I don't think so, because I think that once you do enough documents and you're running documents through the AI, you see, you own your documents. That's the thing. Anything that's prompted into a prompt, they taken, they keeping, that's that. Anything that's uploaded into their AI, that's your document, your shit. They don't get to, they're going to put it into data and spit back out what you do. But if someone was to ask, they have a protocol inside the AI and say, hey, I found Nigel Wright's document. Make me another copy of it and give it to me. The AI is going to come back and say, we don't do copyright. We don't do IPO infringement. And no, we don't. That's not available to us. And
we would hope. No, I'm less optimistic.
That's what they're going to do, because they're going to get in big trouble if they just give people's information out like that. So they're going to say,
I know they'll get in big trouble, and they do too. But I don't know that they
do it. The easy way out is going to say, here's what's available for Nigel Wright, open source. social
Right.
media, and they will give that person. No, I want Nigel Wright's documents. I saw the library and the governance. I want
Mhm.
everything social. I want everything Nigel Wright has made. All they got to do is go into your socials and copy paste everything you've ever written that you've posted, and they got all your stuff.
Sure.
Hey,
Sure.
take all 10 years of Nigel's best writing that he's done, and I want you to make me a book. I'm doing
Well,
Jefferson.
I think some of that's coming.
Hold
But
on.
check this out.
I'm doing Jefferson Bible over here. I like what the guy talks about. He just talks a lot. I got 1,000 hours on the dude. I just need 3 good hours, man. Make that shit for me. And oh, by the way, it came out so good. It came out so good that I pseudo named myself and called it The Cat in the Hat by Dr. Swiss. Not Dr. Seuss. And that shit got $50 million. Cool. Because, bro, you be giving you throwing out them governance documents. That's $100,000 document right there. People be taking that and going, oh, thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you for the prompt and all the description on how you.
Daddy.
Thank you. Next time, yeah, watch out for you giving them documentations out.
Well, listen, we're going through it, you know. So check this out.
I'm sorry. Back to your thing.
Yeah.
How come I didn't get one of those?
I just got it today, dude. I'm sharing it with you live. Give me a hard time over that.
Oh, I like I said, I was on Claude last night. I got mine. Yep, I got it open from last night.
Okay, so I opened this thing up and it was like, hey, we're changing our terms of service. I was like, okay, what is it now? I was getting ready to just click it. But then I read it. Help us improve Claude. Red flag. I've never seen to date something that says help us improve that I don't feel that I'm being asked at knife point.
No.
It happened with Alexa. It's happening here. But here, let me just read it out a little bit. It says, allow us to use your chats and coding sessions to train and improve Anthropic AI models. You can change this at any time in privacy settings. But here's where, and that's fine by itself, because that seems like a generic ask. Here you go.
You never read stuff like this?
No. But all of them are different, and we're gonna get to that because that's another one of our upcoming projects. I've been talking about this. They
already got you strong armed. So if you don't,
yeah. But let me finish it. So that in of itself, what's changing? Not a problem.
All your data,
you know, help us improve. Not a problem. But here's the knife to me. Here's the knife. How this affects data retention. Right. And that's where I was like, oh, you can go from us saving it from 30 days to 5 years. To me, that I feel a type of way about that, because now you're not saying, hey, this is not me saying, hey, Danny, okay, I'll give you an example. Someone did a library project and they went to the library and they shared in the group. They took a picture of their library card. And I was like, hey, that'd be great to use for the document. And the picture's in there. But I asked them, I said, you mind if I use, that? He was like, sure, no problem. Cool. You see that? That's good. This thing is like, well, hey, can I use that? And it sounds very nice. But if you don't let me use it, I'm deleting your data in 30 days.
No.
But if you do let me use it, that's what I read. And that's how, that's what I'm reading.
Claude specifically, from the beginning of Claude, their chats are only stored for 30 days. That's always been. So what they're saying to this now is, here, maybe this will help for you specifically, but we see that you use our tool very specifically, and you've got a lot of megabytes using our stuff. Would you like to help others who don't use it as much as you do to help us train them? They want to use your style and what you've used, and maybe not specifically your code or your documents or whatever, but they want to use your stuff to save it, to convince you to keep it for 5 years. Because for me, you've created stuff in there that's actually stored. They don't think that you have created a whole document library for it. Because if you don't, they gonna get rid of it. Like you said, they strong arm it. Now, if you're
Mhm.
doing a project over here, oh, you doing library project? Oh, you doing local governance? Okay, I
Right,
see
right,
you working on it for 2 weeks. You got it all here inside this chat that had 500 windows in the chat.
right.
So if you ever want to touch this project again that came out to be cool, because we watching what you're doing anyway, we see you got going on, look pretty cool to us too. We got they got and it's all AI agents, dude. There ain't it's all on an agent. I bet you it's on a character count. It ain't even we read it. It's a matter of character count and how many times and how many document uploads and if it's song uploads. They got it all figured out now. You've used it enough to where they want to ask you to use your shit.
Oh yeah.
Otherwise, I'm opening. I just opened Claude on my both of my Google accounts and my phone. So Claude
Mhm.
ain't hit me up with that particular thing just yet because I'm not using it the way you
Because
are.
you stick it and move it. But my point is this: I just think that look, if you want me to help you, and I saw this with Alexa, and I remember when the topic came up, help us, Rich, you know, shout out to NY Loan guy. Um, he's like, I just got Alexa, and it asked me whether or not I should save if I want to help them, you know, with training, and on top of that, it'll help the device understand my voice better. I had a call with folks who are active in that um, Alexa space. Recognizing your voice is something that happens locally on your device. What do you need my stuff for? But that's how they were pitching it. Like, I
Yeah.
again, this is why I am the biggest proponent of whatever you say is fine. However you want to run your, like, not for me to say. Put your face on it, because when whatever it is you're doing, you know, comes up against, wow, that didn't go as planned. I don't want to hear, oh, we, like a company spokesperson. No, 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 no. Someone made that decision. Like, every time we walk away as humans from the decisions that we've made personally, whether in a board, you know, the board made the decision. Like, it's too impersonal for something that's gonna land personal on people. Someone decided, that this is the case, and hey, who am I to say? That's what you want to do, fine. And it doesn't matter what it is. It applies for us too. You know, we're doing something. This is what it is, but I'm not gonna run away from this is what I did. Like, and try to pretend that it's something that it's not. That it, as my brother likes to say, you're giving, you're wrapping it in benevolence, but that's not what's underneath. You know, help me out, and you're using nice, kind language, but in the back end, it's something else. But it was interesting to see this particular thing. I didn't like it, whether or not they were, saving for 30 days or not 30 days, or it didn't even matter. It felt coercive. Um, it felt almost like a punishment. You know, it is the feedback I would give. Um, just keep it the same. Do you want me to do it or not? It's kind of like this. Think about when you get these messages that pop up. Tell the application not to track. What makes you think I want that to be the default? You tracking me? Like, think about it.
Yeah.
And someone will say, well, it's all right to do that. Good. You're right. Who? Bob. Okay, good. That's what I wanted to know. Bob said.
All right. Well,
I think
Bob.
I think we're way over time. Not way over time, but
Yeah,
we're over
Bob's
time.
gonna have to wait till next time. So yeah.
I agree. I agree. But I'm
Congratulations,
just gonna
everyone,
go.
on a great Friday. You know what I mean? Hopefully, you can take advantage of the documents that's there. I hope going forward that we don't overload anymore. So I'm thinking that if there's something to be let loose, it's going to be highly thought about, hopefully, and highly usable, and hopefully one thing at a time. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah, these were good starting points for us, and I think they're interconnected enough that we want to build a community of people who will participate. That is the hope in the endeavor so that we can share the information and the insights across the board, because then it becomes more valuable to everyone who's participated. Seeing your information or knowing something in a vacuum is going to be very different than, even, let's say, what you're seeing now, just Danny and I doing it together, or Lewis from Tribute, coming in and putting his thing in, or the folks from God Enough putting their piece on it, and then seeing that map out across the board, because there's going to be different insights that are going to come up, and information that we might lead us to conclusions that we can do better in, and we're going to have different experiences. Someone may do something, figure something out, and now you don't have to go reinvent the wheel. There's a place to go ask. And again, for those of you who the culture fits, and so do you, if you're in, heading towards this age bracket, and you want to know, well, what's going on in AI? How is it actually being used? See for yourself that people your age are using it, and effectively. This may not be a bad place to consider topping in, is all I'm saying.
Right.
Or not. So with that, any parting words for this Friday?
Yeah, have a great weekend.
Amen to that. Amen to that. And we will see you
have
all.
a great weekend. See you on the next one in about a week. We'll be here for some more updates. Hopefully, someone out there listening, send us a question. We need some questions to be answered.
Well, we got some questions on the back end, and we're going to come back with the Q&A. But also check us out on Beachside Tech Talks, because we're there, Monday through Thursday. We're doing that. And more to come. More to come. Yep. We're looking forward to it. Dashboards, Q&As happening.
Everything helpful.
Peace. Daniel, amazing weekend, buddy.
All right, man. Love you, bud. Take care.
Love you more. Peace.